it's all well and good you saying to me, you do this for 5 years, Steve, and you'll build the skill. But I go, well, listen, if I want to be a millionaire, and I have low self-belief, I'm going to have low conviction. So I'm not even going to take the bet.
Yeah.
So how does one build that self-belief? Self-belief is such an interesting thing because it feels like this real, it's clear to some degree that you had it in that moment of turmoil. It also, the reason I say to some degree is because it didn't seem like you had a plan B anyway. So I'm like, you were already in your parents-in-law's playroom or whatever. So
I had nothing to lose.
Yeah, you had nothing to lose. So I don't know how much self-belief is applicable, but regardless, to keep gracing those hurdles, you need some kind of conviction that this is the right way to go. How do people build that?
So I hear that, and to echo the point you just made, I hated my current existence. And so I think some people don't hate their current existence enough. And so I don't think you either have to really believe that this thing's going to happen, or you have to know that your life sucks. And I knew that my life sucked. And so I knew that if I did something else, it would have a higher likelihood of changing my life than not doing something. And at least that's how I would say that I probably saw it in the beginning. It's I didn't know if it was going to work, but I knew that I wasn't going to stop.
I heard a quote some 10 years ago, which just came to mind when you said that, on some YouTube family vlog, where he said, change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of making a change. Yeah. And in your situation there, it sounds like, well, this is less painful.
100%. I think that's the basis of most change. Either you have to have a reward that incentivizes you. It's the away towards or away. It's either we're going away from pain or we're going towards pleasure. And I think a lot of people are really looking for that passion that's going to be towards. But I think early days, and I talk a lot about this, but I think negative motivation is poo-pooed too much. If you are angry, use it. If you are sad, use it. Because what else are you going to do with it? You might as well let it help you. Or it uses you. You know what I mean? And so I always like to see, when I was in my earlier days, I felt like I was wielding my anger, at least in a direction. And I think also a lot of people think that they have to get it right on the first shot. But one of the beliefs that I had was that I just want to be directionally correct. If I move, I know that I don't like this. And so this way is not where I am. And so I will start taking steps this way. And from the story that you at least heard, it's I'll ping pong a little bit to try and directionally move that way. And it's funny because Caleb's seen plenty of things from what we do at acquisition.com where we're we'll try it out. And if it doesn't work, then we're oops. All good.
Do you believe in yourself?
I think that I have a high likelihood of repeating activities that I've done in the past. And up to this point, I have lots of evidence that would suggest that I will continue.
Why didn't you say yes?
Because I based the answer on that question on what I've done before. And I think it's just based on evidence now. So it's not like a charisma thing, at least for me. It's just I've done these things. And so I think it's probable that I'll be able to continue.
Is there a deeper reason to why you didn't just say yes?
That's actually how I think about it.
Is that because it feels difficult to say you believe in yourself?
Yeah, it feels weird. I don't know if hokey is the right word for what that feels like for me, but saying the way that I said it is how I feel about it.
Have you been on a journey in terms of self-doubt over the last 30 years?
For sure. I think it was, but I mean, fear and anger hand in hand were my big motivators in the beginning. And I mean, maybe that's from self-doubt, but I would say that I was very certain, and I can feel this, and I remember this. I was always certain that I wasn't going to stop. I didn't know whether I would succeed. I thought it was probable, but I did know I wasn't going to stop. And so for me, that was enough to get me going or keep me going. It was what are the controllables? Me. Okay. Well, if I do this, so I'm big on making unreasonable that it doesn't work out statements. Just if I do sales and I do more volume than everyone else on this team, and I've shadowed the guy who's the best, and I do that for 5 years, it's unreasonable that I won't be at least mediocre. It will be probable that I'm above average. And it's also probable that I'll learn other things along the way. And I'll also have the resources at that point in 5 years that I can jump into things now that I have more context or perspective from which to make a judgment on what a good next opportunity is. And so I like very easy to believe statements, and then having the input output equation being like, the output is that I will be a very good salesman. The inputs is that I have to collect 5,000 no's. If I collect 5,000 no's, I'll be a very good salesman. And that for me, like when I was a kid, when I played video games, I would beat the same level over and over and over again, so that when I got to the next level, I would crush everybody because I'd had all the experience points maxed out. And so like those input output equations are really helpful for me. Like when I took the GMAT to get into Harvard, my first score was like, okay, it wasn't great. But I read this study on how to do well on standardized tests. And they had this graph, and it went like this. It was just a straight line. It said number of problems practiced on, GMAT score. So like the more problems you did, on average, the higher your test score was. And I was like, done. So I bought 16 phone books of like, they're like these thick like test prep books. And I did 4 hours of problems every day for 3 months. Every day I'd get home from work, I would eat dinner, I would do 4 hours of problems. I had a timer, I did it every day. And then I scored 99 point whatever percentile because it was just input output. Like I was naturally not even that good at math. But I just was like, if I do 10,000 fucking problems, like I'll start to just understand how these problems get asked. And so like I always try and find like, what's the input output for this, the content game? I was like, okay, well, if we post once a day on one platform, we will get some eyeballs. If we post on every platform every day, we will get more eyeballs. If we post multiple times a day on every platform, we'll get even more eyeballs. So let's do that.
Let's build that system.
100%. And so like, those are the, like, I try and make statements that I believe are unreasonable, that if I do it enough, it will be true. And so that's, for me, that's what gives me the confidence to say like, what if it's not working? I'm like, it will eventually. Like if we just keep doing it, it will work.